Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kiki and all I do is talk about books. This week we are reading something that has kind of been on my TBR for a while, but I've just never got into. Why? I don't really know. That book is Happy Place by Em Hen. I did do something a little different this month because I was so lost as to what I wanted to read. I put up some polls and I let my Instagram followers decide what I was reading because I really had no clue. I put Happy Place against yours truly and the people said Happy Place was the one I needed to read, and so that is why we are here today. In terms of expectations, I really don't have any. I'm gonna be honest, starting this book, I barely knew what it was about. I knew it was something along the lines of they fell out of love and they're coming back at this summer house, like it's a summery vibe, which is great. But besides that, I really had no clue what this book is about, still don't. I only know what the first 82 pages have told me, which isn't a lot. All I know is that Harriet and Wyn, I don't know why I just said Rin. His name is Wyn, W-Y-N, Wyn. That Harriet and Wyn met when they were in college. They fell in love. They were supposed to get married and something happened there. Something happened, Wyn broke up with her, and we are finding out how they fell in love and kind of seeing how they're dealing with the breakup in front of their friends right now because their friends don't know. Like I said, expectations really have none. My only expectation, if I had to make one, is for it to just get me out of this weird reading slump that I'm in. This is coming up after reading Reckless, which wasn't horrible, just not great, you know? So I'm kind of hoping this will help me like overcome the midness that was Reckless. It's just been a lot of mid books. Hellbent is the only one recently that has really made me feel something, so I need Happy Place to... She needs to do something in my heart. She needs to give me something, please. Begging, crying. I don't know what I have to do. Em Hen, please do not fail me. Like I said, I'm only on page 82. So far, it's really, really interesting. It does make me want to keep reading. I think the writing is simpler, which is nice. It makes it easy to get through, easy to digest. But there are some really beautiful lines so far already in this book. You can kind of see my tabs, maybe, if the camera picks it up. Kinda. She's locked in on my face right now. Especially when Harriet is talking about when she first meets Wyn? Why am I having such... I think she says some really beautiful things about how she feels towards Wyn, and just in the past and in the present time, I think they're beautiful. I do so far love the whole friendship dynamic going on. I love that it's all like very found family. I love how everyone in the friend group has a very distinct personality. It doesn't seem like they're basic. They're not there just to fill some space. Like, everyone in the background has a reason, a purpose, and a personality, which I love. I really commend Emily for doing that because a lot of the times people just, if you're in the background and you're not the main character, you don't get depth, we don't care about you, and she said, no, we care about you, you're important, and I love that. I really, really love that. It just makes me wish me and my friends could like go to Maine and have a house like this and have these kind of like, just these kind of like connections and like places, like a connection to a place. It makes me want to have a connection to a place like Harriet has the connection to this summer house. Is that too much to ask? I'm hoping to get to 150 tonight. 150 doesn't look like a lot, right? 150 is like this much. We'll see. Talk to you in a bit. Needed to do a little reading break to introduce Haku. Haku! Haku! What do you gotta say about Happy Place? Stop trying to eat the mic. What do you gotta say about Happy Place? Not a thought in that head of yours, huh? little stuck, obviously, but I am gonna call it a night. I didn't quite make it to 150 pages, I don't believe. Let me double check. I made it to 124, so chapter 12 is where we're at. If you've read this book, we just experienced the wine cellar scene, which I think was a really good scene. I really enjoyed that. I kind of like that Wynn is claustrophobic and they had that moment of weakness and like forced proximity. I think that was done really well. So far, what I was saying, so far I really do enjoy how Emily is kind of doing this forced proximity. The tension, I think, is really good between the two of them. It gives just enough that you want to keep reading and figure out what happened, but not too much that it's just tension for the sake of tension, right? Like, she is really building up their relationship and also the friends' relationship very, very well and at a good pace so far. But I am gonna call it a night because I'm literally falling asleep. And it's not the book's fault. I'm just dead tired. At least Sunday we can do a lot of reading and really get like at least halfway through this book. This is where we are right now. So I would love to get like halfway through this book. More than that, actually, would be better, because I want to get to the other books I have planned for July. Even though it's mid-July, I'm excited to read them, so it's going to be like a July-August TBR at this point, but it's whatever. Life happens. It's whatever. TBRs don't really matter. I will talk to you guys soon at some point, Sunday, most likely. Okay, bye. Oh, my camera isn't even centered correctly. Okay. Hi. How you been? So here's the thing. I had every intention of reading last week. It just didn't. Okay? It just didn't. Stuff came up. Life happened, and I just didn't read a single thing. I finished an audiobook, unrelated, but I did not even pick up Happy Place. We are still on page 124. Wow, I thought I was farther along. I thought I was almost at 200. It's fine. I dropped my tabs. It's fine. It is what it is, okay? It's a new week. July is just a slow reading month. So we're gonna pick it up. I don't even remember what I last told you. Yeah, I can't even tell you what I last said, but I'm gonna recap. I'm gonna do a quick recap. So far, I'm liking it. So far, it's fun. It's a little quirky. It's just cute. It's good vibes. I love the little tension between Wynn and what is her face? Gosh, the main girl's name. Harriet. It's so bad that I forgot her name, and it's only been a week. Anyways, Wynn and Harriet, I think their banter, their tension is cute. I love the friends. The friends are cute. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to get back into this happy story. It may be raining outside, but in here it's very happy, very lovey-dovey, very cutesy. And honestly, I need a lot of that right now. So we're gonna get back into it. It is currently 7:56 p.m. on a Sunday. I'm just gonna try to get, I really want to get to at least page 200. I think I could get to page 200. I would be so happy if I can get to 250, but that's asking for me to stay up really late probably. So this is what we're shooting for this evening. Little halfway mark. That would be great. So I'm gonna pick up my tabs. We have the pen and highlighter if the camera, there we go, pen and highlighter. Water. I'm gonna put, I don't know, what music do you listen to for Emily Henry? Like Taylor Swift? I'm not a Taylor Swift girly, but is that what people listen to? I normally read fantasy, so I go to like YouTube and hit Living in a Castle vibes or Living in Fairyland vibes. Like, I don't know. I'll find some instrumental music, something. There has to be something, and we're just gonna read. We're gonna force this book down my throat. Not that I hate it, but just reading isn't, I don't know. reading just isn't it right now. we're cutting it, okay? Bye. I'm so sorry because my dishwasher is going off and my microphone is probably picking up every little bit of noise that it's making. But I just needed to quickly state how much I absolutely adore these flashbacks into Harriet and Wynn's relationship. Like, the present time is fun, trying to figure out why they broke up and like their like moments of tension and like them trying to get back at each other is fun. But reading about them falling in love, Harriet, like her whole just fear of being alone and her fear of not knowing who she is and her fear of just being like another person. I love Wynn's fear of being too simple. I love how vulnerable they are with each other. Like, I love it. Like, the characters themselves, there are things that Harriet says that I relate to. Me as a young adult, I relate to, because again, these people are, and they're my age, I would assume. If Harriet is in like residency, she's my age, which means everyone is around the same age as me. So like the struggles that she talks about and her feelings and all those things, like I relate to as a young adult, and I just love being able to read about it because those are things that like, oh, I can really connect to this character, and I love it so much. And the bar scene in the present time, Miss Girl in her red dress. That's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna get back to reading. That's all I wanted to say. 1 second, I'm giggling and kicking my feet. The next second, I'm wanting to cry. All in the same chapter. I just finished the part the night after the opening night of Lobster Fest. So the whole Ferris wheel gummy situation, jumping in the pool situation, back in the room situation, if you know what I mean. This line that Harriet says, "When I wake up before sunrise, I'm still alone." Just want her to be happy. I know she'll be happy by the end of this. Oh, but it's the absolute perfect amount of like falling in love, romance, funny, quirky, and angst. The angst, she really kicks you in the gut at the end of a chapter. She'll like, here's a sprinkle of how happy and how, look at all the good that could be happening, and then bam, absolutely gutted. That last line absolutely gutted me. It's so hard to put this book down. Like, you just want to keep reading. She leaves you on just hooks. At the end of every chapter, there's a new hook that just keeps you here. It's so hard to put down. Anyways, I'm just gonna cut it here, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow, most likely, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see, but hopefully tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, my cat is in the background, but I'm on chapter 30, so page 297. I'm gonna call it here for today because I thought this book had 400 pages because that's what Goodreads told me. Wrong. It's only 385 pages. And I feel like I'm gonna get to a point here shortly that if I keep reading, I'm just not gonna want to stop. So I am cutting myself short for tonight. The thing I loved the most is how real the conflict between Harriet and Wynn is. It is a real... Haku, please don't mess with the little tripod. It is a real issue. Like, it's real life. It just feels like something that I could experience, my friends could experience. Wynn's depression and just Harriet's fear of being alone and her struggles with her family and her struggles with just wanting to not do anything wrong because she didn't want to break the relationship anyway. Like, it is such a real story. It is so realistic that I love it, because I think that's what deters me away a lot of the time from romances, is that sometimes they just come off as like very just, I don't want to say fake, but they come off as just happy, right? Which is, I know this is gonna end up happy, but they just come off so sweet, so happy, so quirky, like too much to the point that it doesn't feel like a real story. This feels like a real story. I love the depth that they have. I love the depth to their issue. I love the fact that they can communicate it, that it's not just some argument, that it doesn't seem like, oh, we're just arguing for 2 seconds and then we're making up and whatever. Like, no, the way they communicated was like actual adults, and I love that. And again, there are just also so many beautiful lines in here. Emily Henry really knows how to like throw a punch. I also now see why the girlies who read these books love Taylor Swift. I see why the girlies always match up Taylor Swift songs to these books, because it's just, it is perfect. And I'm not even a Swiftie. I'll admit it, I'm not even a Swiftie. As I was saying, she has some beautiful writing in here. For example, I can't bring myself to say it, to admit that the rest of my life, everything I've worked for, has started to feel like set dressing, like loving him is the only essential and everything else is garnish. I feel like I'm not being coherent, but just the way she portrays them falling in love so young, like their whole young relationship, and then into their adult life and how it all crumbled, and just when Harriet starts talking about, in this moment that I just finished reading, when they confront everything and they're out in the guest room shower, and she talks about how this moment that they're about to have is basically the last I love you, and she starts talking about how maybe in this universe they're not meant to be, and that in this universe, like, life is just too hard for them to make it work. Oh, it's just so good. I may rate it a 5-star, and I don't want to rate it a 5-star just because of the lackluster reads I've had recently, so I'm trying not to have that influence my decision. But this is, oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to read her other books. I think the other one I have, I'm trying to see my bookshelf, the other one I have I think is Beach Read, so I may read that next. Maybe I need to just take a break from fantasy. I feel like this whole video is just gonna be me gushing over this book without giving like actual commentary. Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying. It's so good. The pacing is good. The plot is so good. The way she has the timeline is so good. And I know I've said these things before, but it's just, that's my update. That's all I have to update. I absolutely ate the scene up with them in the shower. The whole confessional, done so well. And the chapters before it, actually, especially the chapters before it, where we start going from like the dark, she calls it the dark place, when they broke up. Beautiful, well done, just perfect way of showing the timeline and the circumstances and sequence of events that happened to them breaking up. So well done. Didn't seem like a lot of fluff. I think that's actually what I do like. There's not a lot of fluff for the sake of just having fluff. Like, it is a tiny book, but it doesn't feel like this is dragging on in any way. Like, the story is moving. It's still with depth, and it's just so, the cuts between present, past of them in love. So, oh my goodness. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Hello. It's Thursday. I did read a little bit yesterday. I think I read maybe like 20 pages, but I was reading with my friend, so I didn't record because that's just a weird thing to do. Did the camera pick it up? Someone's slamming doors in this hotel. I'm almost done, but it's basically what I'm trying to get at. I'm on page 331. I literally have like 50-ish pages left to go. I am basically at the point where Harriet is meeting up with Cleo after the tattoo shop scenario, situation, argument, plot twist happened, if you've read this book. Crazy, by the way. It just rubbed me wrong, you know, like I'm with Cleo, actually, I'm with her on this argument on this side. So happy Harriet and Wynn have like figured out their situation. I don't know what this is gonna be except like resolving this situation with Sabrina, but I do like that Sabrina's whole thing isn't so much the manipulation, but the fear of also losing her friends and her friend group, and how as adults, like, life really does change, and you obviously, as you continue to grow, like, you change as a person, but also your relationships change. And I appreciate that that is a point brought up, and that's actually the kind of argument that they're having, the discourse that they're having is something so real. Like I mentioned before with Wynn and Harriet, like the discussions and problems that they're having are real life problems. And I love when a book brings in real life things and tries to tackle them and explain them, because it's so much easier to connect to. It doesn't feel like something that's just for the sake of a plot or for the sake of a book. Like, it doesn't feel so out there. Like, it's something that you relate to, I relate to. I understand where Sabrina's coming from. I understand where Cleo's coming from. I understand Harry and I understand Wynn. And it makes me love these characters and just love their story. I'm excited to see how this plays out. So I'm gonna get to reading and we will catch up probably at the end when I finish, because I'm sure there's not gonna be anything super plot crazy in the next 50 pages. So you'll see me then. Story. Oh my god. There aren't enough words right now. I quite literally just finished the last page. There just aren't enough words for me to describe how beautiful this story is. If I have to give it a rating right now, I am sitting at a 4.5 to 5. I don't want to give it a 5 just quite yet. I want to marinate a little bit because I'm afraid that I'm rushing into it. I'm trying to really not just give 5s for every single book I read, but it's up there. This may be one of my top reads of this year, if I'm being honest. Editing me, you know the drill. If it changes or whatever decision I come to, put it here for the people. I am gonna talk a little bit, spoilers here in a second. So if you haven't read Happy Place, if you don't want to know a single thing, absolutely go in completely open-minded. This is your cue to leave the video. Okay, I loved having you here. I will see you next time, but this is your warning, okay? So be warned. What really gets me actually about this story is the whole concept of what is your happy place. For Harriet, she thought her happy place was the cottage, and it was her safe space, and it was her safe space because it was familiar and it was comfortable, and she didn't have to worry about any what ifs there. And the whole moral of the story being that your happy place is whatever you make it, and that regardless of what trajectory you have in your life, it doesn't matter. You still have the will and the freedom to be able to make your happy place be wherever it needs to be. For Harriet, that was in Montana with Wynn. It's not the cottage, it's not doing her dreams to make her parents proud. It's Wynn and the people she loves and her family, and that was so beautiful. I love that we even get the whole thing where her mom, you know, her mom also sacrificing everything, right? Her mom gave up everything for her dad and for Harriet and Elise, and it was nice to see them at the end of the story kind of connect. And for Harriet to tell her mom, like, you also deserve happiness and you deserve to do what you want to do and not have to worry about me and my sister, because we are happy. We found happiness in whatever way we did. It's not conventional. It's not what you had idealized for us, but we're happy and that's okay. And I loved that. I loved that Win also was able to realize that he is worthy of happiness, because that was his whole arc, really, in my mind. Him realizing that he's worthy to be loved and worthy to also experience happiness and have a happy life, and that he just deserves to live the life that he actually wants to live. Yeah. You know what I'm saying. The whole thing with Sabrina and the friend group, and Sabrina's fear about them drifting apart, and how growing up changes them, and how she's afraid that they're all gonna leave and they're all gonna become different, and they're gonna be so different that it's gonna break. Also relatable. Honestly, like for me and my age, it's such a relatable thing for the friends that I've had since high school or met in college, that you just get so caught up in life and you get caught up worrying about, you know, your own life and worrying about being a burden to others, that it was just so, it's like so refreshing to read about real life issues, like these real things that I experience or just people in general experience, and just to read it was so good. Like, she executed it so well. It doesn't feel like a cheap shot. It doesn't feel like just having a story for the sake of having a story, or throwing something in there and not getting into, like, she gets into it, and that's what I love. She actually gets into these issues, and it was just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. It just comes to the whole fruition of, what is your happy place? And what are you willing to do to make sure that you're in your happy place? It's like almost like a coming of age story, except these people are obviously like 30. It's such a good read for any young adult who's like just graduated college, starting a career, trying to figure out like starting a family and keeping connections with family and friends, and wondering, why do I feel so different? Why is life so different? Like, what is going on? Like, it is such a good story for people in those phases of life. I mean, in general, I think it's a great story for anyone. It's just, this is definitely a banger. I think this one's also going to become a movie, so I'm really excited I'm really excited I read this one. It does make me want to keep reading some more romance and take a break from fantasy. Maybe I'm a little too fantasied out right now. I kind of just like want to binge her books, and I want to read other books, like just for the summer by Abby Jimenez, and yours truly has also been on my shelf. So maybe I do a little bit more romance here in August and September after I finish the books that I have technically that were for July, but they're gonna roll into August. So I don't want to do so many spoilers. Oh, how could I forget? I almost ended this video with not even talking about my favorite thing about the whole in every universe I love you. That is so cute. I just loved it. I loved it. I love that Harriet tells him I love you, and he says in every universe at the end of this book, because that was a thing that they talk about a lot, that maybe in other universes they were able to overcome these challenges of life that made it seemingly impossible for them to be together, and they made it work in this universe. They made it work in this universe even though they thought they couldn't. It's so good. Get this book. Okay, get this book. Maybe I do another video and I just gush over all the lines in this book that are just so well written. Emily Henry, you're great. You're amazing. I can't wait to read more of your books. I'm gonna cut the video here. I hope this vlog actually works out, because I feel like I've been taking a lot of snips of videos that just are gonna end up incoherent when I actually come to edit this, but I'm hoping this works out. Hope it was a fun watch for you. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, do all the things that, you know, I'm supposed to tell you to do, that I feel awkward telling you, but you know, it is what it is. Let me know if you've read Happy Place, what your thoughts on it are. If you've read any of her other books, Emily Henry, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what your favorites are. I would love to hear it, because I would love to figure out which one I should read next after this one. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!